Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today is just going to be an update. We're just waiting on a lot of parts right now, so things are taking a little bit longer, and so is the rest of the world. Things are a little bit backlogged and trying to get parts for engines and certain wheels and certain, obviously anything to do with car related or anything to do with anything for that matter around the world is pretty hard to get stuff these days. So bear with me and be patient with certain time frames on stuff. We're pretty well on schedule with the 350Z here. We're just have a few more things. The engine is actually 90% done. We're just waiting on a few rocker arms and a few other things for the top of the engine. But like I said, it's about 90% done there, and we're getting there slowly. My wiring harness for the 350Z should be coming in the mail this week, actually, along with the shifter relocation for that CD09 transmission. When that shifter relocate comes in for that transmission, it's a pretty sweet shifter relocation. A lot of people use the CD009 transmission in swaps usually because they're actually a pretty strong transmission. They can hold a lot of power too. So it's not an uncommon thing that somebody is going to put this in. Let's say they'll put it in a Supra, or they'll swap this transmission into something else, or they use it in the S chassis, or a lot of JDM cars will utilize that transmission and hold up to the power, no problem with it. So when the new shifter relocate comes in, serial 9 makes the shifter for this, and it will take the shifter from back here to right about here, which is going to be needed because with the LS swap that goes in this car, engine actually sits about 3 inches further back, and then I think 5 inches further down to the ground. So it's actually gonna make this car handle a lot better than what it did in factory, which is a pretty cool thing, that you can put a bigger engine in a car and you end up having better center of gravity, and things are pushed back. The engine will actually be sitting, like I said, it'll sit further back, and that's why we have to get a shifter relocate to bring the shifter forward, so that it lines up with the transmission tunnel and the hole for the shifter to fit through. So believe it or not, yeah, the V8 will actually fit better in here than the V6, because the V6 has, that comes in these cars, has a dual overhead cam is what it's called, and that itself actually takes up more space on the top of the heads. Whereas if the LS that's going in it, the 6.2 liter, it has a single cam and it's a push rod engine, so therefore you don't have as big of a valve train up top, so you'll be able to see things like more room on the sides here to fit headers in and wrench and everything else. I'll actually drop a picture down right now as I'm talking and showing you guys the comparison of a V6 engine that's in these cars to the LS swap, and as you can see there, between the two pictures, the V8 just fits like it's meant to be in this car. So other than that, I pretty much have everything over here. Like I said, I'm still waiting on the wiring harness and the shifter relocate, but I have most of the stuff here. I have bought a Mishimoto slim fan kit just to give myself a little bit more room in there and get rid of that plastic fan shroud. Here's the drive shaft here that is specifically made. It's the aluminum drive shaft. I'm pretty sure they said that this can hold up to pretty high horsepower and high torque numbers, way more than what we're actually going to be running with the LS. The LS3 will be, like I said, pushing around 550 to the crank, and knowing that it's an LS, usually their torque numbers are pretty high too, and it being a V8, it's going to be right up there along with that 500 mark. 500 torque, 550 horsepower around there, especially if you go with a built engine, the cam, the stage 3, all that sort of thing, and all that good stuff. We're going to be piecing all this stuff together as soon as my engine comes in. Like I said, I'll keep you guys updated on when parts are coming in, but as of for now, the only things that I'm waiting on, like the shifter relocate, should be in this week. It's shipped already, and the wiring harness should be in this week or next week. It's just being finished up right now. And as of the swap goes here, I've already pulled the whole wiring harness out in through here. Well, I'll be running the new wiring harness through the factory spot with the rubber boot here, so everything looks OEM, and it will fall into the inside there. I'm running a Corvette ECU. It's sitting on the floor in there right now, but it's already set up. All the safety features and everything for that ECU is set up for this swap kit already, so I've already had that taken care of. So that should be plug and play with that. And then I'll have to wire it up so it connects to the regular CAN bus on the computer of the car. So oil pressure, stuff like that, tachometer, speedometer, all the lights and everything should work as factory with this engine swap. As of for that, I can leave the Motordyne exhaust because it's 3-inch up into the halfway mark of the car, and then it goes to 2.5 up to where the factory engine was. But I got rid of the 2.5 section because I didn't want it to bottleneck and go from a 3-inch header down to a 2.5 inch, because then like I said, it will bottleneck it and you will actually lose horsepower with that, especially if you're running a cam and higher horsepower, higher performance parts in the engine. You'll notice something with that. So you want all the flow for sure, definitely with that. I should be able to get a nice Xpipe right in between there and run it. I'll have to run custom exhaust, like I said, but Vibrant Performance has some pretty good stuff there that you can we can use, and you can see the 2 3-inch pipes down there. Vibrant Performance, like I said, has all the pipes needed that we can go right off the headers with the V-bands. We'll use all V-bands and do a nice custom exhaust with it. I like the Xpipe sound a lot better than the H-pipe. With the H-pipe, you get more of like a muscle car sound. With the X-pipe, in my opinion, you get more of like a nice, smooth, crisp snap sound to it. So I'm looking forward to that, but I might actually go through a bunch of different settings of the exhaust because, like I said, this is all custom. I don't know too many people. It's hard to try and get information out of people on what they use and what works and what sounds good, because it's obviously not a factory setup having a V8 in this car. So we're just gonna have to make do and do trial and error on certain things. If we don't like the sound of something, then we'll have to change it up or add some resonators, or that's all stuff that we'll have to do later on and figure that out. As of for this car here, we have ordered headlights and a grille and a few other things for it. Wheels are also very hard to get these days, so we have ordered some wheels and they said should be beginning of March area, so it's not too terrible. It should be about a month from now by the time this video is uploaded that we can get some wheels for this. But until you guys see what we're doing later on with the car, and we'll leave some surprises for you guys. But as of for all these cars here, the Mustang, the 350, and the Infiniti, I'm actually having someone come professionally wet sand and do a 2-stage polish on this car here. We're going to do a 2-stage polish on this with a coating. This car, I've always wanted to get it like professionally detailed. Like, it's in really, really good shape. Like, the paint is like flawless on this car, but I've always wanted to get it like professionally done. There's always going to be some imperfections in paint no matter what. But then to get it coated with some nice coating that I will be able to just wipe it off no problem, and it'll always stay nice and glossy, and it'll really make that paint color pop on this car. The headers are getting ceramic coated to keep the heat down in the engine bay of this car. Things are going to heat up a little bit more. You can see I already have a plate here to block the fuel lines, so that will protect those, and some heat resistant lining there too as well for the fuel lines. Ceramic coating the headers will keep the heat down too, and I'll do everything I can just to try and, you know, all the little things that to keep the heat at a minimal, because you want to keep the intake air temperatures down and whatnot. This is all stuff that, like we said, we're gonna have to do trial and error. We're gonna have to move some stuff around, and for the most part, everything should bolt up and keep factory rad supports and stuff like that. But along the way, I don't really want to cut the car up if I have to, but if I do ever have to, I'm going to do it really nice and take my time with it and make sure to make it look OEM at the end. I don't think I'm going to have to cut anything up, but that's the nice thing about this Siki manufacturing kit, is that you pretty much don't have to cut anything out of the car, which is awesome. And I like that because I don't like hacking up a car, especially if it's a low mileage in good shape as like this car here. It would just be a shame to cut it up. But it definitely pains me to see the car like this for a long time, because I definitely want to get going on it, obviously, and start seeing something actually going with it and mounting in there, start mounting the front end on it. It definitely kills me to see it torn apart like this. It's been probably a few months now, I'd say, that it has been taken apart, but It won't take me long at all to put it back together, and definitely stay tuned because I'm gonna film the whole process of the install with everything, button up the transmission, the engine, loading everything in. Hopefully soon enough, it'll be a first start on one of the videos too as well. So some people can swap in an engine and do it correctly, or you can just swap an engine in a day and, you know, hack it together and everything. That I really want to take my time on this and make it an OEM plus build with that engine in it like it should have came from the factory. But other than that, guys, that's just a small update on the engine for the 350 and a few other things that are going on with the G35. But I'm just itching for that nice warm summer weather to come. We only got a few more months here of winter, and then I'm really hoping to get this car done by the time the spring rolls around. And I think we can accomplish that because I pretty much have everything. Fingers crossed, and we'll stick along with the ride of the engine swap of this vehicle. It shouldn't be too much longer. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.